Sometimes the most terrifying weapon is the Google search bar. A computer screen showing Google searches on Tuesday night at 11:47 p.m. with these queries. SWAT shoots unarmed person. Police mistake object for gun. How often do police shoot by mistake? Armed veteran killed by police and PTSD veteran police shooting statistics. Who made these searches? A journalist or a researcher? No, my daughter Jennifer made them. And these searches were for something that would happen 2 days later, for my death. This is me, Thomas Hayes, 71 years old from Colorado Springs, a Vietnam veteran. And this is the story of how my own daughter tried to kill me with SWAT and an 8% chance. If you want to listen more calculated betrayal stories like this, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. Sometimes visits that seem innocent are the beginning of the most dangerous games. My name is Thomas Hayes, and I'm 71 years old, living in Colorado Springs, Colorado, in a nice, quiet neighborhood. I'm a Vietnam veteran from 1969 in Saigon with a shrapnel wound in my left leg that gives me a slight limp, but I do everything myself because I'm independent and strong. My wife Margaret died 3 years ago in July 2019 from a sudden, unexpected heart attack. She was 68, which was too young and too soon. We had 47 years of marriage after getting married in 1972 when I had just returned from Vietnam at 22 and she was 20. And then I was alone for 3 years at home in the big house with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a large garden. A beautiful house we bought in 1995 for $300,000 that's now worth $680,000. I have a daughter, Jennifer, who is 45 years old, married to Mark with 2 children, Emma, who is 16 years old, and Ethan, who is 13 years old. They live in Denver, an hour and a half from Colorado Springs. I thought she was a good girl who visits once a month with occasional phone calls asking, "How are you, Dad?" And I'd say, "I'm fine, sweetheart. Normal, ordinary, a good girl." But March 2022, the 17th, Thursday at noon, wasn't a normal day. I was in the garage doing yard work and mowing the lawn for spring cleaning when a car pulled up. Jennifer's car, a black Honda, and she parked. She got out alone without Mark or the kids. "Hi, Dad," she said. "Hi, Jennifer. What a surprise since you didn't call," I replied. "I know, but I need to talk to you about something important," she said. We went inside to the living room and sat down. Jennifer looked serious and tense with her hands clenched into fists. "What are we going to talk about, daughter?" I asked. "Dad, it's about this house," she said. "The house? What's wrong with the house?" I asked. "Dad, this house is too big for you with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a big yard when you're alone. Why do you need such a big house?" she questioned. I paused. "Jennifer, I live here and I've lived here for 47 years where Mom and I lived together, and my memories are here." "But Dad, you're 71 years old and a Vietnam veteran with a leg that limps, so this house is dangerous for you with stairs and yard work. What if you fall?" she argued. "I don't fall because I do everything myself," I countered. Jennifer leaned forward. "Dad, listen. You should consider an assisted living facility or a senior community where everything is taken care of with meals ready, cleaning done, security and medical staff. Assisted living, nursing home, retirement home, these terms hung in the air. "Jennifer, I don't want to go to a nursing home because I'm healthy and independent," I stated firmly. "But Dad, it makes sense and the house is worth $680,000. So if you sell it, you'll get a lot of money that you can use to pay for assisted living and have a lot of money left over," she reasoned. "Money left over?" I looked at her carefully. "Jennifer, what will happen to the money left over?" Jennifer looked straight at me. "Dad, I'm your only child, so that money will be mine for my family, for Emma's college, and for Ethan's future." Now I understand. Money, inheritance, the house. Jennifer, this house is my house with Mom, and I'm not thinking about selling it yet, I said. Jennifer raised her voice. But Dad, that's not logical. You're all alone here. The money is going to waste. If you sold it now, you could give it to me and it would help me. Help you? Jennifer, you and Mark make good money since Mark's an engineer and you're an accountant. So what happened? I asked. Jennifer hung her head. Dad, we have debts, mortgage, car loan, credit cards, and we're in a tough spot. How much debt? I asked directly. $230,000, she admitted. I was shocked. $230,000? How did you get into so much debt? The house in Denver is expensive at $500,000, with a mortgage of $300,000 remaining and very high payments. And last year, Mark was fired and unemployed for 6 months with delays. So now we've received a foreclosure notice, she explained. Foreclosure, house repossession. This was a serious situation. Jennifer, I'm sorry and I didn't know, but selling my house isn't the solution, I said. Why not? Dad, you're not using that money. You're just sitting in your house. I can use it. I can pay the mortgage. I can save the house, she exclaimed. Jennifer, I've thought about this, and maybe I'll sell it later when I'm older, but if I sell it, I can't give you all the money, I explained. Jennifer froze. What do you mean? Margaret and I talked about this for years, and if the house is sold, half will be donated to the Colorado Veterans Support Foundation, I revealed. Donated? Jennifer jumped up. Dad, you're joking. No, Jennifer, I'm serious. It was Margaret's and my dream to help Vietnam veterans with PTSD treatment, shelter, job placement, and everything, I explained. Half is $340,000, and the other half, $340,000, goes to you and the grandchildren, I clarified. Jennifer looked at me with eyes full of anger. Dad, I'm your daughter. I'm $230,000 in debt. Emma's college is coming up, and you're going to give half my money to strangers? They're not strangers, Jennifer. They're my brothers who fought for me, and some died, some were wounded, and some live with PTSD, so helping them is my duty, I stated. Duty? Dad, I have debts, real debts, foreclosure. I'm going to lose the house. And you say duty, she shouted. Jennifer, that's your problem, yours and Mark's, and I can help a little, but I can't give you all my property, I said firmly. Jennifer looked at me for a long time with a cold stare. Dad, think about it. Maybe you'll change your mind, she said. Jennifer, I won't change my mind because I promised Margaret. Half goes to the Veterans Foundation, and that's final, I stated. Jennifer turned and walked to the door, then turned at the threshold and looked back one last time. Memories, Dad? Margaret's memories? Fine. Live with your memories while I live in the real world, she said coldly. She left and the door slammed. Then came the sound of a car driving away, and she was gone. I sat down for a long time and thought. Jennifer had never been like this. Cold, angry, aggressive. Debt totaling $230,000 with foreclosure was serious, but it's my house and my decision, and I promised Margaret that half goes to the Veterans Foundation, and that won't change. 2 weeks passed without Jennifer calling. No calls, no messages, no emails, nothing. Strange, because normally she calls once a week asking, "How are you, Dad?" But 2 weeks of complete silence was unusual. Maybe she's still angry and needs time, I thought. March 31st. Saturday morning was a beautiful spring day with sunshine. I was in the garage doing car maintenance and changing oil by myself to save money. 8:30 came on a quiet morning with neighbors still asleep on the weekend. Then sirens sounded far away, but getting closer. Lots of sirens, police sirens. I looked out onto the street and saw 5 police cars and 2 SWAT vans, all of them coming to my house. My heart skipped a beat as I wondered what's going on. The cars stopped, doors opened, and police got out with guns drawn, AR-15, handguns, and shields. The SWAT commander spoke through a megaphone. "Thomas Hayes! Come out! Hands up!" "What? Me? Why?" I came out of the garage with my hands up. "I'm Thomas Hayes. What's going on?" "Get down on the ground, now, face down," they commanded. I lay down on the cold, hard concrete floor. 2 officers came and handcuffed my hands behind me tightly. "Mr. Hayes, don't move and stay calm," they ordered. "Why?" "What did I do?" "Why are you here?" I asked desperately. The SWAT commander approached. "Mr. Hayes, we received a 911 call about you, a serious call." "What call?" I asked in confusion. "The caller was your daughter, Jennifer Hayes Cooper, and she said your father is armed with PTSD and threatening to kill himself and others while planning to burn the house down," he explained. I froze literally. "What?" Jennifer wouldn't say something like that. She would never say that. "My daughter..." "Mr. Hayes, calm down because we're just doing our job. Are there any guns in the house?" he interrupted. "Yes. In the basement, there's an M1911 pistol that's licensed and in a locked safe, and I haven't touched it in 10 years, I explained. "Is anyone else in the house?" he asked. "No, I live alone," I confirmed. "Okay, the SWAT team will search the house while you stay here and don't move," he instructed. The SWAT team entered the house, 4 people fully equipped with guns ready. I remained on the floor handcuffed while watching as the neighbors came out to watch and take pictures with their phones. Shame washed over me. For the first time in my life, such shame. 10 minutes passed, then 15, then 20. The SWAT team came out. "The house is clear with a gun in the basement that's locked, no other weapons, and no sign of threat." The commander addressed me, "Mr. Hayes, you can get up because we're removing the handcuffs." I got up with my hands now free and rubbed my wrists that were red and hurt. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now we'll talk to your daughter because she's coming and she's on her way," he said. "Jennifer is coming? Did she really call 911? I asked in disbelief. "Yes, Mr. Hayes. Jennifer Hayes Cooper called the 911 emergency line last night at 9:30 p.m., and there's a full recording," he confirmed. My eyes filled with tears. But why would she do such a thing? The commander looked at me for a long time. "I don't know, Mr. Hayes, but we'll find out." 30 minutes passed before a car arrived. Jennifer's car, the black Honda. She parked, got out slowly, and walked towards us. Her face was blank, expressionless, and frozen. "Jennifer!" I yelled. "What did you do? Why did you call 911? Why did you call SWAT? Jennifer looked at me coldly. "Dad, I'm worried about you and about your health." "Worried?" "Jennifer, you called SWAT with 14 armed police officers. You said armed and dangerous. You said PTSD. You said planning to burn the house down. These are lies," I shouted. Jennifer's voice was flat and monotonous. "Dad, you sounded stressed on the phone, so I thought you might have PTSD. On the phone? Jennifer, you haven't called me in 2 weeks. You never called. What phone are you talking about?" I demanded. 2 weeks ago, during that conversation about selling your house, you seemed very aggressive," she claimed. "Aggressive? Jennifer, I just said no. I said I wouldn't sell my house. That's not aggressive. That's my decision," I countered. The commander intervened. "Ms. Cooper, you said your father was armed and dangerous. What was the evidence?" Jennifer turned to the commander. "There was no evidence, but he's old and a veteran, so he could have PTSD and there's a risk." "Ms. Cooper, when was the last time you saw your father?" he asked. 2 weeks ago, she replied. "Did your father threaten you during that visit?" he continued. No, she admitted. Did he show you a gun? He pressed. No, she said. Did he mention burning down the house? He asked. No, she confirmed. Then why did you call 911? He demanded. Jennifer was silent for a long time before saying, I said I was worried because he's a veteran and old, so there's a risk. The commander looked at me, then at Jennifer, then back at me. Mr. Hayes, Ms. Cooper, come to the station, both of you, because the detective will talk to you and a full investigation is necessary, he announced. Colorado Springs Police Department downtown in the big building is where they took me into a small room with a desk, 2 chairs, and one-way glass that I recognized because behind it others are watching. I waited for 10 minutes, then 15. The door opened and a woman entered, in her 40s, Hispanic, with a serious face. Mr. Hayes, I'm Detective Rachel Santos. Please sit down, she said. I sat down and Santos sat across from me. Mr. Hayes, what happened this morning? Tell me, she requested. I told her everything. The garage, the oil change, the sirens, SWAT, the handcuffs, everything. Santos listened and took notes before asking, when was the last time you spoke with Jennifer? 2 weeks ago, Thursday, March 17th, when she came to my house wanting me to sell it, I explained. What did you say? She asked. I said no, and that I wouldn't sell it. And if I ever did sell it, I'd donate half to the Veterans Foundation, I recounted. What did Jennifer say? She continued. She got angry saying, you'll give it to me and I'm your daughter. But I said no and that my mind was made up, I explained. Then? She prompted. Then she left and didn't call for 2 weeks until today when the SWAT team came, I concluded. Santos nodded. Mr. Hayes, do you have a gun? Yes, an M1911 pistol from Vietnam that's licensed and in the basement in a locked safe, and I haven't touched it in 10 years, I confirmed. Do you have PTSD? She asked. No, because after I came back from Vietnam, the first few years were tough. But I had therapy in the 1970s and got better with no problems now, I explained. Have you ever had thoughts of killing yourself or others? She asked directly. Never, because I had a happy marriage with Margaret for 47 years. And although I've been widowed for 3 years, I'm happy and peaceful with life being good, I stated. Did you plan to burn the house down? She asked. No. Never. Why would I? This is my house where Margaret's memories are. Why would I burn it down? I exclaimed. Santos looked at me for a long time. Mr. Hayes, I believe you, but Jennifer made serious accusations, and there's a 911 recording with a full transcript. Would you like to listen to it? Yes, please, I agreed. Santos opened her laptop and played the audio recording. Operator. 911, what is your emergency? Jennifer. Hello, I'm reporting my father. Operator. Your father? What happened? Jennifer. He's dangerous and armed with PTSD, and he could hurt himself or others. Operator. What's his name? Jennifer. Thomas Hayes, 71 years old, Vietnam veteran. Operator. Address? Jennifer. Address given. Operator. Are you there right now? Jennifer. No, I'm in Denver, but I'm worried because my dad was talking strangely on the phone and said, I'll burn it all down. Operator. He said, I'll burn them all. What will he burn? Jennifer. The house, his own house, maybe the neighbors, I don't know, but he's dangerous. Operator. Does he have a weapon? Jennifer. Yes, a handgun from Vietnam that he always carries. Operator. Is he receiving PTSD treatment? Jennifer. No, he refuses and says I don't need it, but I see the symptoms of paranoia, anger, and danger. Operator. Okay, ma'am. We're sending a SWAT team to check on your father. Jennifer. Thank you. And please be careful because he's unpredictable. End of recording. I sat there shocked because every word was a lie, completely false. Burn it all? I never said that. I never said that. I protested. Always carries it? The gun is in the basement locked up. I haven't touched it in 10 years. I continued. Paranoid, angry, dangerous. What? I'm the calmest person. The neighbors know. Everyone knows, I exclaimed. Santos shook her head. Mr. Hayes, I know it's a lie, a complete lie, but why did Jennifer tell these lies? I don't know, maybe she was genuinely worried or maybe she misunderstood, I suggested weakly. Santos looked at me seriously. Mr. Hayes, I'm going to show you something, but be prepared because it's shocking. Show me, I said. Santos turned on her laptop screen showing Google search history. Jennifer Hayes Cooper, Google search history. Tuesday, March 28th, 11:47 p.m. Thursday, March 30th, 10:15 a.m. The list was long, very long, and I read every line. Tuesday, March 28th, 11:47 p.m. SWAT shoots unarmed person. 11:51 p.m. Police mistake object for gun statistics. 11:54 p.m. How often do police shoot by mistake? 11:58 p.m. Armed veteran killed by police. Wednesday, March 29th, 00:03 a.m. PTSD veteran police shooting statistics. 00:15 a.m. Percentage police use lethal force. 00:22 a.m. Wrongful death lawsuit police shooting. Thursday, March 30th, 9:47 a.m. 911 call recording anonymous. 9:52 a.m. How to report dangerous family member. 9:58 a.m. Can 911 caller be traced? 10:05 a.m. Colorado elder abuse reporting. 10:15 a.m. Inheritance law when parent dies before selling house. The screen froze and I froze too. Jennifer, my Jennifer, made these searches, all of them. SWAT shoots unarmed person showed she researched the statistics. Police mistake object for gun showed she researched probability. Inheritance law when parent dies showed she researched inheritance. I understood everything now. Jennifer wanted me to be killed by SWAT through mistake or accident. She researched it, planned it, and calculated it. And she called 911 saying, armed, dangerous PTSD, to create the full profile with the highest risk profile. Because statistically, if SWAT comes and sees an armed veteran, there's a chance they'll shoot. Small, but it exists. And if they shoot and I die, the house goes to Jennifer entirely for $680,000. No Veterans Foundation, no half donation, everything to Jennifer. My hands trembled and my eyes misted over. Santos, I said hoarsely. Jennifer tried to kill me, didn't she? Santos nodded slowly and sadly. Yes, Mr. Hayes. Jennifer planned it, researched it, calculated it, and executed it. I sat for a long time as words wouldn't come and thoughts were jumbled. Santos spoke. Mr. Hayes, we are now questioning Jennifer in another room, and you can watch from here through one-way glass where she won't see you. But you can see her. Would you like to watch? I thought about watching my daughter lying and confessing. Yes, I want to watch, and I want to see the truth, I decided. Santos took me to the next room, a dark room with one-way glass where on the other side, Jennifer was sitting at a table waiting. Her face was still blank and expressionless. Santos entered Jennifer's room. Miss Cooper, I'm Detective Rachel Santos. Let's talk. Jennifer nodded. Okay. Let's talk about your 9/11 call where you made serious accusations about your father saying, armed, dangerous, PTSD, planning to burn down the house. What is the source of these accusations? Santos asked. Jennifer replied, I'm worried because Dad is old and a veteran, so there's a risk. A risk? What risk? Is there concrete evidence? Santos pressed. No evidence, just intuition, Jennifer claimed. Santos leaned forward. Intuition? Ms. Cooper, you don't call SWAT based on intuition, and saying armed and dangerous is a very serious accusation that requires evidence. I said I'm worried, Jennifer repeated. Santos opened a file. Miss Cooper, I'm going to show you something. She turned the laptop so the screen faced Jennifer, showing the Google search history with the entire list. Jennifer's face changed slightly, very slightly, but I noticed as the color drained. Santos began. SWAT shoots unarmed person. Why did you do this search? Jennifer remained silent. Police mistake object for gun statistics. Why did you do this search? Santos continued, still silent. Armed veteran killed by police. PTSD veteran police shooting statistics. Why Ms. Cooper? Why did you research these statistics? Santos demanded. Silence persisted. Santos swiped the screen. And here's the most interesting part from Thursday morning, 12 hours before the 911 call. 911 call recording anonymous. 911 caller be traced. Why did you look these up? Because you wanted to remain anonymous, right? And then this. Inheritance law when parent dies before selling house. 12 hours before the 911 call, you researched how inheritance works if your father died, Santos revealed. Santos slammed her hand on the table hard. Ms. Cooper, you researched your father's death. You researched the likelihood of SWAT shooting. You learned the statistics. Then you called 911 saying, armed, dangerous, PTSD. Because according to your research, this profile carried the highest risk with the highest likelihood of lethal force, she explained. And on the same day, 20 minutes after the 911 call, you applied online to Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company with the subject intestate inheritance procedure, meaning how is inheritance distributed if there is no will, Santos added. You called 911 saying, my father is dangerous. We sent SWAT, and at the same time you were asking the insurance company, what happens to the inheritance if my father dies? Santos concluded. This is no coincidence, Ms. Cooper. This is a plan, a premeditated plan, Santos stated firmly. Jennifer remained silent with her hands on the table, not moving, with a blank face. Santos asked, do you want to say anything? Jennifer looked at Santos coldly. I want a lawyer. Santos nodded. Okay, that's your right, and the interview is over. She got up, left the room, and came to my room. Mr. Hayes, you saw it. Jennifer didn't confess, but the evidence is clear because Google search history doesn't lie, Santos said. I was crying silently. Santos, my daughter, my Jennifer, wanted to kill me by typing SWAT shoots unarmed persons into Google, learning the statistics, calculating the odds, and taking that chance that she would get me killed, I said through tears. Santos put her hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry, Mr. Hayes. So sorry. But yes, Jennifer did exactly that by planning it, calculating it, and executing it. But you're lucky because SWAT didn't shoot. You're alive and Jennifer will now be tried, she added. What for? I asked. Attempted murder, swatting, false reporting, all of it with serious charges and a long sentence, she explained. I nodded. Good. She deserves it because she's not my daughter anymore. My Jennifer died the day she typed SWAT shoots unarmed person into Google. Saturday night, March 31st, 2022, still at the police station. Santos came over to me. Mr. Hayes, Jennifer is being booked right now with formal charges being filed, she informed me. What charges? I asked. 1. Attempted murder through swatting as second-degree attempted murder, she began. 2. False reporting to emergency services, she continued. 3. Reckless endangerment because SWAT came and neighbors were endangered, she added. 4. Criminal solicitation for attempting to commit murder using the police, she concluded. Total, maximum 25 years in prison, she summarized. 25 years for Jennifer, my daughter. When is the court date? I asked. Arraignment or preliminary hearing on Monday, 2 days from now, then preliminary hearing, then trial. It's a long process, she explained. What should I do? I asked. Nothing, Mr. Hayes, because you're the victim and you'll testify, but now go home and rest because you've had a terrible day, she advised. I returned home at 9 in the evening when it was dark and quiet. I went inside where everything was normal, but it wasn't normal because nothing was normal. This morning, SWAT was here with 14 armed police officers who pinned me to the ground and handcuffed me. Because my daughter wanted it, and my daughter planned it. I sat in the living room and looked at Margaret's photo on the wall, where she was smiling and happy. Margaret, I said quietly. Jennifer, our Jennifer, tried to kill me by Googling SWAT shoots unarmed person, learning the statistics and calculating the odds. And she called 911 saying Dad's armed, dangerous with PTSD by lying with every word, I continued. Because of the house worth $680,000 that she wants. But I said I'd give half to the Veterans Foundation, I explained. And she chose to kill me. Instead of half for all of it, she chose my death, I concluded. What should I do, Margaret? What should I do, I asked. The wind blew through the window as if Margaret was answering. Thomas, you are a strong man who came back from Vietnam and lost me but stood tall, and now you will stand tall again. Jennifer did this, and Jennifer will pay while you just tell the truth and justice will come, her voice seemed to say. I slept, but slept badly, with nightmares of SWAT, sirens, and Jennifer's cold face. Everything haunted me. Monday, April 2nd, 2022, at El Paso County Courthouse, a big building with marble stairs, came the arraignment or preliminary hearing as Jennifer's first court appearance. The courtroom was crowded with reporters there because the story had spread. Daughter called SWAT to kill father. I'm in the front row at the victim's seat with Santos next to me. The door opened, and Jennifer came in wearing an orange jumpsuit with handcuffs and 2 guards beside her. I looked at her long and hard, searching for my daughter, my Jennifer, but I couldn't find her. Just a stranger, a cold stranger. The judge entered. All rise, Honorable Judge Patricia Morgan presiding. Everyone stood, the judge sat, and we sat. Case number 2022 CR 1847, People of Colorado versus Jennifer Hayes Cooper with charges of attempted murder, false reporting, reckless endangerment, and criminal solicitation, the judge announced. Ms. Cooper, do you hear the charges? The judge asked. Jennifer's lawyer, a young man in his 30s, spoke. Yes, Your Honor, my client hears the charges. What is the plea? Guilty or not guilty? The judge asked. Not guilty, Your Honor, the lawyer replied. The judge nodded. Bail hearing, prosecutor? The prosecutor, a woman in her 40s with a stern face, stood up. Your Honor, the prosecution requests no bail because the defendant is extremely dangerous since she tried to use the police to kill her own father in a premeditated, planned attack. And the Google search history shows 48 hours of research where she learned statistics, then executed. If the defendant is released, there is risk because other family members are in danger, witnesses are in danger, and there is also a flight risk, the prosecutor concluded. The defense attorney countered, Your Honor, my client is a mother of 2 children with roots in the community, so there is no flight risk, and she hasn't been found guilty yet due to presumption of innocence. The judge thought, the prosecutor's arguments are strong, and the Google search evidence is extremely disturbing because SWAT shoots unarmed person is not an innocent search, but dangerous research. Bail is denied, and the defendant will remain in custody until trial, the judge declared. He banged the gavel. Next case. I looked at Jennifer one last time, and she looked back at me for 1 second, then 2 seconds. Then she turned and walked as the guards took her away, and she was gone. Santos said, "Mr. Hayes, good call because Jennifer is dangerous and she shouldn't be free." "I know, but she's still my daughter and it hurts to see her," I admitted. "I understand, but now it's trial preparation where we'll talk to you for testimony," Santos replied. July 2022 arrived, 3 months since the SWAT incident, and the trial begins with the jury selected, 12 jurors with 6 men and 6 women of various ages. July 18th, Monday, was court day. I'm in the front row again, where every day I'll be here as a witness and as a victim. Jennifer came in wearing the orange jumpsuit again, and in 3 months she's lost weight with a pale face and sunken eyes. But her face is still blank and expressionless. Judge Morgan announced, "The trial begins with opening statements. Prosecutor." The prosecutor, Assistant District Attorney Karen Mitchell, stood up and turned to the jury. "Ladies and gentlemen, this case is simple but horrific because Jennifer Hayes Cooper tried to kill her own father, her 71-year-old Vietnam veteran father," she began. "How?" "Not with her own hands because she didn't want to get her hands dirty, so instead she used SWAT and she used the police," she explained. "She spent 48 hours researching on Google, and with your permission, let's look at the screen," she said. A large screen opened with projection showing Google search history with every line in capital letters. Tuesday, March 28th, 23:47. SWAT shoots unarmed person. Police mistake object for gun statistics. How often do police shoot by mistake? Armed veteran killed by police. The jurors looked with some narrowing their eyes and some frowning. Karen continued, "You see, Jennifer researched and learned the statistics asking, how often does SWAT make mistakes? How often do they shoot unarmed people? Answer, a small percentage but not zero, according to research about 5 to 10%, which are small odds, but Jennifer took those odds," she explained. Wednesday, March 29th. PTSD veteran police shooting statistics. Colorado SWAT team protocol armed subject. Percentage police use lethal force. Karen elaborated. Day 2 with more detailed research about the PTSD veteran profile, because this profile carries the highest risk where police are more cautious and more trigger-happy. Jennifer learned this and described her father fitting this profile exactly when she called 911 saying, "Dad is armed with PTSD and he's dangerous," she stated. Thursday, March 30th. 911 call recording anonymous. How to report dangerous family member. Can 911 caller be traced? Inheritance law when parent dies before selling house. Karen explained, Day 3 with preparing to execute by researching, can I remain anonymous? And can the caller be traced? And most importantly, parent dies before selling house. How does inheritance work? Was searched 12 hours before the 911 call. So while planning her father's death, she was also planning his inheritance, she revealed. Karen turned to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, this is premeditation and advanced planning with 48 hours of research, learning statistics, preparing a profile, and calculating risk. And then the 911 call. We'll listen to the recording, but to summarize, Jennifer lied with every word being a lie, she stated. Dad is armed, lie, because the gun is in the basement locked and untouched for 10 years, she listed. Dad is dangerous, lie, because Thomas Hayes is the calmest, kindest man, and neighbors will testify, she continued. Dad has PTSD, lie, because Thomas was treated in the 1970s and he's healthy now, she added. Dad plans to burn down the house, false because Thomas loves that house where Margaret's memories are, she concluded. Every word is a lie because Jennifer's goal was to get SWAT to shoot accidentally or by mistake to kill her father while keeping her own hands clean, Karen explained. And why did she try to kill her own father? Karen paused and looked at the jury. Money, $680,000 for the house. 2 weeks ago, Jennifer went to her father saying, "Sell the house." But Thomas refused and said, "If I sell it, half will go to the Veterans Foundation," she recounted. Jennifer got angry, saying, "Half? I'm your daughter. It should all be mine." But Thomas replied, "No, Margaret and I agreed. Half goes to the foundation," she continued. And that day, Jennifer made her decision that half wasn't enough and she needed it all. But her father wouldn't give it to her while he was alive, so her father had to die, Karen concluded. And she opened Google searching SWAT shoots unarmed person and started researching, she stated. Karen turned to the table and picked up the file. Ladies and gentlemen, this is attempted murder, premeditated attempted murder, and the evidence is the Google search history that doesn't lie with Jennifer's own words and her own searches. We'll show it throughout the trial. We'll hear witnesses, and in the end, you will decide guilty or not guilty, she said. But the evidence is clear. Jennifer is guilty, and justice must come for Thomas Hayes, she concluded. She sat down. The jurors were silent and thoughtful, with a few looking at me sadly. The judge said, "Defense, opening statement." Defense attorney David Chen stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution told a dramatic story, but the truth is different. Jennifer Hayes Cooper is a loving mother with 2 children, Emma and Ethan, aged 16 and 13, he began, and a loving daughter who worries about her father because her father is 71 years old, living alone as a veteran with old injuries and a limp in his leg, he continued. Jennifer was genuinely worried, and yes, she did Google searches, but why? Because she was researching whether Dad is a veteran. Could it be PTSD? Is there a risk? As she was trying to learn, he explained. The 911 call? Yes, she made it, but why? Because she was genuinely worried, thinking Dad seems stressed, something might be wrong as a protective daughter, he argued. The prosecution says premeditated murder, but there's no evidence beyond just Google searches, and Google searches or thoughts are not crimes, he stated. In America, there is freedom of thought, where Googling is not a crime, and worrying is not a crime, he emphasized. Throughout the trial, we will show Jennifer is innocent and well-intentioned. She just made a terrible mistake by calling 911 unnecessarily. But there was no murder intent. None, he claimed. And the jury will decide based on reasonable doubt. So if there is doubt, she is innocent, he concluded. He sat down. The judge announced, "Prosecution, call your first witness." Karen stood up. Prosecution calls Thomas Hayes. My turn came as the first witness and victim witness. I stood up, walked to the witness stand, placed my hand on the Bible, and swore in. "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" the clerk asked. "I do," I affirmed. I sat down with the microphone in front of me and the jury facing me while Jennifer was to my right, though I didn't look at her. Karen approached. "Mr. Hayes, would you please identify yourself?" "Thomas Hayes, 71 years old, Vietnam veteran living in Colorado Springs," I stated. "Are you married?" she asked. "Widowed. My wife Margaret died 3 years ago," I replied. "Children?" she continued. "One daughter, Jennifer," I said, while looking at her for the first time. "She's sitting over there." "Mr. Hayes, do you remember March 17th, 2022, Thursday, when Jennifer visited you?" Karen asked. "I remember," I confirmed. "What did you talk about?" she asked. I told them about the house, the offer to sell, my refusal, half to the Veterans Foundation, Jennifer getting angry saying, "The money is mine," and then leaving. "And then?" Karen prompted. "Then she didn't call for 2 weeks until March 31st, Saturday, when SWAT came," I explained. "What were you doing when SWAT came?" she asked. "In the garage, changing the oil in the car on a quiet morning when suddenly sirens came with 5 police cars, and 2 SWAT vans carrying 14 armed officers, I recounted. What happened? She continued. The commander shouted, Thomas Hayes, get down! So I got down and they handcuffed me while saying, you're armed, you're dangerous, you have PTSD, you're planning to burn the house down, I explained. Was that true? She asked directly. No. None of it was true. I wasn't armed, I wasn't dangerous, no PTSD, no plan to burn the house down. It was all lies, I exclaimed. Who told these lies? Karen asked. I looked at Jennifer one last time. My daughter Jennifer. She called 911 and said everything, and it's all lies. Karen nodded. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Does the defense have any questions? David Chen stood up. Mr. Hayes, do you love Jennifer? I paused at this tough question. I did love the old Jennifer, but now I don't know because that Jennifer is dead. Is it possible Jennifer was worried about you? He asked. Possible, but Googling SWAT shoots unarmed person isn't worry. It's a plan, I stated firmly. No further questions, he concluded. The trial continued with witnesses coming one by one. Witness 1, Detective Rachel Santos. Karen asked, Detective Santos, describe your investigation. Santos replied, I questioned Jennifer and showed her the Google search history, but she didn't respond and said, I want a lawyer. But the evidence is clear because Jennifer researched for 48 hours searching SWAT shoots unarmed person and police mistake object for gun to learn the statistics, she continued. And 20 minutes after the 911 call came an online application to Northwestern Mutual asking, parent dies, how does inheritance work? She added. The timing is no coincidence. It's a plan, she concluded. David Chen cross-examined. Detective, are Jennifer's Google searches illegal? Santos answered, no, Googling is not illegal. Then why the evidence? He pressed. Because it shows intent where Jennifer learned SWAT sometimes makes mistakes and sometimes shoots unarmed people. Then she called 911, putting her father in that profile, saying, armed PTSD dangerous, Santos explained. This is no coincidence but cause and effect. Research and execute, she concluded. Witness 2, SWAT Commander Robert Miller. Karen asked, Commander Miller, what happened on the morning of March 31st? Miller explained, we got a 911 call saying armed veteran with PTSD who's dangerous and planning to burn down the house, which was a serious report, so we sent SWAT. We found Thomas Hayes in the garage with hands greasy from fixing a car. Not armed, not dangerous, and calm, he continued. We searched the house finding a gun in the basement that was locked and untouched, he added. Then Jennifer came saying, I'm worried. But the neighbors said, we haven't seen him in 2 weeks, so why is she worried now? He noted. Something didn't add up, he concluded. David Chen cross-examined. Commander, did you shoot Thomas Hayes? Miller answered, no. Why not? Chen asked. Because there was no threat with his hands visible. No weapon, and no aggression, Miller explained. But isn't every situation different? Chen pressed. Yes. In some situations, if the person makes a gun motion or pulls out an object, it could be a shoot and could be an accident, Miller admitted. So like Jennifer expected, Chen suggested. Miller paused as David objected. Objection, Judge responded. Sustained, the jury will disregard that last question. But the jury heard it and understood that Jennifer expected an accident. Witness 3, neighbor Rita Alvarez. Karen asked, Ms. Alvarez, how well did you know Thomas Hayes? Rita replied, 10 years as neighbors. He's a very nice man who's kind and calm, goes for a walk every morning saying, Good morning, Rita, with a smile. Is he dangerous? Karen asked. Never. He's the calmest person who never yells or fights, and even after Margaret died, he stayed calm. Sad, but calm, Rita stated. Do you see Jennifer often? Karen continued. Rarely, maybe once a month, and sometimes I don't see her for 2 months, Rita answered. Did you see her in March? Karen asked. Yes, March 17th, Thursday at noon, when Jennifer came and stayed for an hour. And as she was leaving, I heard voices shouting, Rita recounted. What were they saying? Karen prompted. Jennifer said, "That money is mine, it's mine," while Thomas said, "No, Jennifer, half goes to the foundation. We decided," Rita explained. Jennifer was furious and slammed the door and left, she added. Did Jennifer come back after that? Karen asked. No, I didn't see her again until the SWAT day, Rita confirmed. Witness 4. Cyber forensics expert Dr. Alan Price. Karen asked, Dr. Price, did you examine Jennifer's computer? Dr. Price confirmed. Yes, with a court order we extracted all Google search history. Findings? Karen prompted. Within 48 hours, from March 28th to 30, a total of 23 searches, all about SWAT, police shootings, and inheritance, he reported. Most notable was percentage police use lethal force, where she found the answer of about 8% in high-risk situations, he continued. Jennifer learned this information, then called 911, he stated. Are there any deleted searches? Karen asked. Yes, Jennifer deleted some searches before the trial in April, but we recovered them, Dr. Price revealed. The deleted searches were: how to make police think someone is armed, what words trigger SWAT response, and can daughter inherit if father dies without will, he listed. The jury was shocked, with some covering their mouths. Karen asked, these deleted searches, what do they mean? Dr. Price explained, Jennifer did more specific research asking, how do I trick the police? How do I trigger SWAT? How do I inherit if my father dies? Then she deleted them before the trial because it's very clear and very damning. But deletion isn't permanent, and we found them, he concluded. David Chen couldn't effectively cross-examine because the evidence was too strong and too clear. The defense's turn came as David Chen called witnesses for Jennifer. Witness 1. Mark Cooper, Jennifer's husband. David asked, Mr. Cooper, what kind of mother is Jennifer? Mark replied, an excellent mother who loves her children, Emma and Ethan, very much, with everything being for them. What kind of daughter is Jennifer to her father? David continued. Mark paused. Anxious, always anxious, asking, Dad is alone, Dad is old. What if something happens? So she called 911 out of anxiety? David suggested. I think so, out of anxiety, Mark agreed. Karen cross-examined. Mr. Cooper, did Jennifer tell you about her Google searches? No, Mark admitted. What did you think when you found out about the SWAT shoots unarmed persons search? Karen pressed. Mark was silent before saying, I was shocked. Was that worry or a plan? Karen demanded. I don't know, but it's horrible, Mark concluded. Witness 2. Emma Cooper, Jennifer's daughter, age 16. David asked, Emma, talk about your mom. Emma was crying. My mom is a good person who loves us and loves my grandpa, so this must be a misunderstanding. Were your mom and grandpa on good terms? David asked. Yes. When Grandma Margaret died, my mom was very sad and helped Grandpa by visiting every week, Emma explained. But in the last few months? David prompted. Emma paused. In the last few months, my mom's been stressed about the house and debts because Dad got fired from his job last year during tough times. Mom said Grandpa should sell the house because he's old and it's dangerous. But Grandpa didn't want to, Emma added. Karen cross-examined. Emma, did your mom show you the Google searches? No, Emma answered. If you had seen them, what would you have thought? Karen asked. Emma cried, I don't know, but it's horrible because Grandpa's a good man, the best grandpa. Witness 3. Dr. Susan Fernandez, psychiatrist. David asked, Dr. Fernandez, did you evaluate Jennifer? Dr. Fernandez confirmed. Yes, 2 sessions in prison where I did an evaluation. Diagnosis? David prompted. Adjustment disorder with mixed anxiety and depressed mood due to financial stress, marital stress, and a difficult situation, she stated. Could this affect Jennifer's decisions? David asked. Possibly, because under stress, people can make irrational decisions and thinking can become impaired, she explained. Karen cross-examined. Dr. Fernandez, can adjustment disorder involve researching for 48 hours with systematic research? Theoretically possible, she admitted. But 23 Google searches plus deleted searches, all systematic and all organized. This isn't spontaneous but planned, right? Karen pressed. Dr. Fernandez hesitated. Yes, it appears planned. Can adjustment disorder involve planning? Karen asked. Rarely, because generally impulsive behavior is seen. But this is different and shows premeditation, Dr. Fernandez concluded. David Chen objected. Objection. Speculation. Judge ruled. Overruled. Dr. Fernandez is an expert witness who can give her opinion. The trial lasted 8 days with 23 witnesses and hundreds of pages of evidence. Now came closing arguments as the final defenses. Karen Mitchell stood up and turned to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the evidence for 8 days and heard the witnesses, and now it's time to decide. Is Jennifer Hayes Cooper guilty of attempted murder? She asked. Yes, absolutely yes. And the evidence is the Google search history, she stated. The screen opened again showing Google searches, all of them in capital letters. Karen continued. 48 hours, 23 searches, systematic, organized, and planned. SWAT shoots unarmed person. Jennifer learned it happens sometimes. Rarely, but it happens, she explained. Police mistake object for gun statistics. Jennifer learned 8% in high-risk situations, she added. PTSD veteran police shooting statistics. Jennifer learned this profile is the riskiest and triggers SWAT, she continued. And then the deleted searches, how to make police think someone is armed and what words trigger SWAT response, she revealed. This isn't concern, this is weaponization, where Jennifer used the police as a weapon, she declared. And why did she try to kill her own father? She asked. Money. $680,000 where half wasn't enough, and she wanted it all. So the only solution was her father's death, she answered. She looked at me. Mr. Hayes here, 71 years old, Vietnam veteran who fought for his country, lost his wife, and lives alone. And his daughter, his own daughter, tried to kill him using SWAT for an 8% chance, she stated. Mr. Hayes is lucky because SWAT didn't shoot. But Jennifer planned it, waited for it, and hoped for it, she continued. This is attempted murder, premeditated attempted murder, and Jennifer is guilty, she concluded. She sat down. David Chen stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution told a dramatic story, but the evidence is insufficient. Google searches? Yes, they exist. But thought is not a crime because in America there is freedom of thought, he argued. Jennifer researched and learned, but did she execute? No, because Thomas Hayes is alive and healthy, he stated. If Jennifer really wanted murder, she would have used other methods that are more guaranteed, because SWAT has an 8% chance, which is very low and very risky, he reasoned. Maybe Jennifer was really worried and stressed out by debts and foreclosure, so she made bad decisions, he suggested. Calling 911. Yes, a mistake, but murder intent? No evidence beyond just Google searches, he claimed. And if there's reasonable doubt, she's innocent, he concluded. Jennifer is innocent, and the jury must find her innocent, he stated. He sat down. The judge turned to the jury. Jury, you will now retire to the deliberation room to decide guilty or not guilty. Remember, beyond reasonable doubt. If there is no doubt, then guilty. If there is doubt, then not guilty, the judge instructed. Court adjourned, the judge announced. He banged the gavel. The jury withdrew and deliberations began. I waited in the lobby with Santos beside me, asking, "How long will it take?" "I don't know, Mr. Hayes. Sometimes hours, sometimes days. So we have to wait," Santos replied. We waited for 3 hours, then 4 hours. 7 in the evening came when the door opened and the jury foreman came out. "We've reached a verdict." We all returned to the courtroom as the judge entered and Jennifer entered. The judge asked, "Jury, the verdict?" The foreman stood and read from a paper. Case number 2022 CR 1847, People of Colorado versus Jennifer Hayes Cooper. Count 1. Attempted murder through swatting. Verdict, guilty, he announced. Jennifer froze. Count 2. False reporting to emergency services. Verdict, guilty, he continued. Count 3. Reckless endangerment. Verdict, guilty, he added. Count 4. Criminal solicitation. Verdict, guilty, he concluded. All counts, guilty, he stated. The courtroom was silent before murmurs started, with reporters writing and cameras rolling. Jennifer collapsed into the chair with her head in her hands. Mark cried and Emma cried. I just stared blankly. The judge announced, "Sentencing in 2 weeks. Court adjourned." The gavel struck. It was over. The trial was over with guilty verdicts on all counts. August 10th, 2022 was sentencing day, judgment day. The courtroom was crowded again, and I was in the front row again. Jennifer came in wearing an orange jumpsuit, thin, very thin, like a shadow. Judge Morgan announced, "Jennifer Hayes Cooper, the jury found you guilty on 4 counts, and now the sentencing. But first, victim impact statement. Mr. Hayes, do you have anything to say?" the judge asked. I stood up, went to the microphone with my paper that I had written, but I didn't read it. I just spoke from the heart. "Judge Morgan, members of the jury, standing here today feels strange," I began. "Because I don't feel like a victim since I'm alive and healthy with SWAT not shooting me, so I'm lucky," I continued. "But at the same time, I lost everything because I lost my daughter. I lost Jennifer," I stated. I looked at her for the first time, really looked at her. "Jennifer, when you were a baby and a little girl, I would hold you in my arms saying, 'My princess.' Margaret and I were proud of you as our smart girl, loving girl, and good girl," I reminisced. "But then something changed where money became important. Debts came and you changed," I observed. "You came in March saying, 'Sell the house, give me the money,' and I said, 'Half goes to the Veterans Foundation,' and you got angry," I recounted. "And 2 weeks later you opened Google and typed SWAT shoots unarmed person," I revealed. "That night you were sitting there in front of the computer researching, how do fathers die? Do police make mistakes? What are the odds?" I continued. "And you found the answer, 8%, which are small odds but enough and acceptable risk," I stated. "You gave your own father an 8% chance of dying by saying acceptable risk and calling 911, I concluded. "Jennifer, do you know how I felt that day when SWAT came and I was handcuffed?" I asked. Shock initially, wondering, what's going on? "Why are they here?" I began. Then fear, thinking SWAT is here with guns. What if they make a mistake? What if they shoot? I continued. Then shame because the neighbors are watching, thinking Thomas Hayes was arrested as a dangerous man, I added. But the worst came later at the station, when Santos showed me the Google searches, I revealed. That moment, my heart broke, really broke, because I understood you tried to kill me. Your own daughter tried to kill me, I stated. "Why Jennifer? Why, money? $680,000, I asked. Wasn't $340,000 enough?" Wasn't half enough? I questioned. But no, you wanted it all, and the only solution was my death, I concluded. Jennifer, Margaret is in the grave for 3 years now. But if she were here and knew, her heart would break completely, I said. Because we loved you and always loved you. But you chose the money, not us, I stated. And now you're here guilty on 4 counts with punishment coming, I observed. Judge Morgan, my request is maximum sentence because Jennifer is a danger not just to me, but to society, I stated. She used the police as a weapon, today against me, tomorrow against someone else, I warned. This has to stop, and Jennifer has to stop, I concluded. Thank you, I said. I sat down with my hands shaking and my eyes full. The judge nodded. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Defense? Anything to say? David Chen stood up. Your Honor, Jennifer is deeply remorseful with 2 children who will be left without a mother. Please show leniency and mercy with the minimum sentence, Pan. He pleaded. The judge looked at Jennifer. Ms. Cooper, do you have anything to say? Jennifer stood up. For the first time she would speak in her own voice. Dad, she said hoarsely while looking at me. Dad, I'm sorry. So sorry. I did a terrible thing that's unforgivable. There were debts and stress, but that's no excuse. There is no excuse, she admitted. I searched on Google, I planned it, and I called 911 to kill you, she confessed. Saying this is so hard, but it's true, and I deserve the punishment, she stated. I'll just miss Emma and Ethan so much, she said. She cried for the first time. She really cried. The judge waited, then spoke. Ms. Cooper, the jury found you guilty with evidence that is overwhelmingly strong. Google search history shows premeditation, planning, and calculation, he stated. You tried to kill your father using the police for an 8% chance, he continued. This is a danger to society, a serious danger, he declared. Sentencing. Count 1 attempted murder through swatting is 10 years. Count 2 false reporting is 2 years. Count 3 reckless endangerment is 1 year. And Count 4 criminal solicitation is 3 years, he announced. Consecutive sentences totaling 16 years with no parole for the first 8 years, he concluded. Court adjourned, he stated. The gavel fell. 16 years. Jennifer got 16 years in prison. Emma is 16 now, so when Jennifer gets out, Emma will be 32. Ethan is 13 now, so when Jennifer gets out, Ethan will be 29. The children will grow up without their mother. They took Jennifer away with the guards. She left and didn't come back. I sat for a long time with Santos beside me. Mr. Hayes, justice has been served, and Jennifer got what she deserved. I know, but I'm not happy because there are no winners. I lost my daughter, Emma and Ethan lost their mother, and everyone lost, I reflected. But it was the right decision because Jennifer was dangerous, and now she's in prison and society is safe, Santos concluded. August 2025 arrived, 3 years since the trial. Today, I'm 74 years old and I'm healthy, still healthy. But there's no house at that house, the $680,000 house, because I sold it in 2023, a year after the trial. Because I couldn't stay there, where every day brought SWAT memories and Jennifer memories. And I changed my will so everything goes to the Colorado Veterans Support Foundation. Jennifer's name is removed completely, and I added a note. My daughter researched how police might kill me and chose an 8% chance of my death over accepting half of her inheritance. She gets nothing now because I lived. Emma and Ethan live with Mark in Denver as good kids in a tough spot, but strong. I visit once a month when they say, "Grandpa, I miss my mom." And I say, "I know, I miss her too, your old mom." Jennifer is in prison nearby at the Denver Women's Correctional Facility. I visit every 3 months in difficult visits through glass on the phone. "Dad, I'm sorry," she says every time. And I say, "I know, but we can't change the past." "How are Emma and Ethan?" she asks. And I reply, "They're fine and they ask about you. Give them a hug for me," she requests. Today I visited Margaret's grave. 3 years later, for the first time, I felt at peace. I sat at the grave. "Margaret," I said, "we lost Jennifer because Google search history showed she wanted to kill me. SWAT shoots unarmed person search, where she learned 8% chance and called 911, I explained. "But I'm alive because SWAT didn't shoot, so I'm lucky," I stated. "And Jennifer got 16 years in prison with no parole for 8 years, and her children will grow up without a mother," I continued. Was it the right decision? I don't know, but it was the only decision, I reflected. "Margaret, I changed my will, so it's all going to the Veterans Foundation. Your dream, our dream," I revealed. "Jennifer won't get anything because she tried to kill me for the money, and I don't reward that," I concluded. The wind blew and leaves rustled as if Margaret was answering. "Thomas, you did the right thing because Jennifer chose between money or father, and she chose money. And now she has neither. No father, no money. But you're alive, and the Veterans Foundation will get help because of you, so our dream will come true. And Jennifer is paying the price. Maybe she'll change in prison, and maybe true remorse will come. But now live, Thomas. Live life. Live the memories with Margaret," her voice seemed to say. I smiled. "Thank you, sweetheart. Always with you forever." I got up, walked to my car, and returned home to my new home. A small apartment with 1 bedroom, but it's enough and comfortable. I sat down and turned on the TV to local news. A story from Colorado Springs. Thomas Hayes, a 74-year-old veteran, made a large donation to the Veterans Foundation by selling his house and donating $675,000, the reporter announced. Foundation spokesperson said, "Mr. Hayes' generosity will save lives with PTSD treatment, shelter, and job programs all being possible," the report continued. "Mr. Hayes said when we asked him, 'This was my and my wife Margaret's dream, and now it's real, so I'm happy,'" the report concluded. The phone rang with an unknown number. "Hello?" I answered. "Mr. Hayes, this is Channel 7 News. Can we do an interview? Your story is very inspiring," the caller asked. "What story?" I asked. "Your daughter Jennifer, the trial, and the donation. All of it," they explained. No interview because it's a private matter," I stated. "But," they started. "No," I said firmly. I hung up. This story is private, my own story with my daughter, and the message is simple. Money changes people, and sometimes even the ones you love most. Jennifer gave me an 8% chance of dying by saying, "Acceptable risk," but I don't accept it. The day she Googled SWAT shoots unarmed person, that day my Jennifer died. A stranger took her place, and that stranger took nothing. Because I'm alive and the money went to my dream, Margaret's dream, to the veterans. Jennifer made the wrong choice, and now she's paying for it for 16 years. Remember, family isn't money. Family is love. But sometimes love isn't enough, and sometimes money wins. And then everything is lost, always. If you liked this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about this story in the comments. Click on the box on the left to listen to the next story.